Alright guys, we're back with more bonus features from Halo 3, and I completely forgot the setup. Subtitles on. Audio test. Oh yeah, this is from the bonus DVD on Halo 2.
Welcome to the DVD surround sound test. Speaker on that side. Speaker on that side. Speaker behind you over there. Speaker behind you over there. Center speaker.
And now we're moving on to the on. Now we're moving on to the Halo 2 cinematic. Microsoft Game Studios.
Woohoo! GS logo. Little Steve vibe. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, Jason Jones. I didn't hear what you said. Hey everybody, welcome to the farce that is the Halo 2 developers commentary. I'm Jason Jones. I'm here with Joe Staten, director of cinematics, and Marty O'Donnell. What did Marty do, Joe?
I know he wrote something. The music.
The music. Some of the music. And we're going to talk about our favorite game that we've ever developed, Halo 2.
And here. Yes.
Mellifluous tones. Some new actors. Wow. David Keith.
Keith David, yes.
Keith David. David Keith.
Now, if you were watching before the Halo 1 stuff, it's just amazing the instant increase in graphic fidelity between these two things.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Actual crossfades in Halo 2, I have to say.
Crossfades work. Did you make it so things don't freeze anymore, Joe?
Well, yes, this is what's known as the director's cut remastering of the Halo 2 cinematics.
Yeah.
Because if you actually played Halo 2, you might have noticed that there were some graphic glitches, some popping textures, some depth of field that wasn't quite in there. So what I thought I would do, you know, and then I know you audio guys went back and did a little bit too, is really go and create the cinematics the way that we really wanted them to look. But it's all still an engine, all still playing back from the engine.
I saw you in After Effects at least once.
Shh. This is called the developer diary, not the cheater's confessional.
Council demands it. You are one of our most treasured instruments. Long have you led your people with honor and
I love it. Truth. Wait, here comes a good line. Here it comes. Bob O'Donnell, ladies and gentlemen.
Marty's dad.
Yes.
Pretty much
Cameo appeared.
came into every single game.
Also known as the Surly Dwarf from Myth. And he was the Prophet of Denial. No, what are we calling him? Prophet of something.
Yeah, well, we didn't do that. Good stuff. And one of the bugs that I could never fix in Halo 2, and I still couldn't fix it right there, bang, Arbiter's helmet pops every single time, and I could never figure that out.
Even in After Effects?
Even at A. That's it, I'm going back and fixing it.
It is nice to see all these cinematics without any popping at all.
Well, I mean, so what was that all about, Jones? The popping that we ship with?
Cairo. I was just in Cairo last month. We guessed code.
But I mean, it was a hardware problem too, right?
It was because we landed the plane in like an 89-degree power dive.
Onto fire.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I guess it was all obsolete anyway. Your new suit's a Mark 6.
But I mean, I remember that distinctly just being heartbreaking for everybody on the team when, you know, when we realized it was just too late, and it wasn't that time to put that polish on the game, and that was pretty heartbreaking for everybody.
Yeah, that was pretty.
Here we go. How did he? Classified. That's good writing.
Thank you. Oh wait. There's a grand tradition in Halo games of never really explaining how we get from one to the other. Almost, but not really, like we hadn't actually planned to make the next one.
What?
I mean, we always do. I'm just saying it's like we hadn't really planned it.
I remember when we were doing the Cortana letters
Yes.
years ago, where we had the entire plan from the beginning of the Cortana letters to the end of the trilogy.
The end of
Remember that
the-
whole story arc? Yeah.
Right. I think we might have lost that plan.
Okay, let's look at it.
Marty, that's some nice martial stuff.
All the arm pumping repeat animations.
He is extremely excited to see the Master Chief. Now, there was no addition of any post effects in this scene.
I don't remember seeing flashes like that in the game. What happened here?
There were flashes in the game, but one of the things that we had to cut, unfortunately, from the final version was a lot of the effects work. So all the flags were in there, all the scripting was in there, but we just couldn't. We
You just
couldn't
brought it
have
back.
it
Okay, that's good. For historical.
for historical purposes. Little grunt standing on top of the thing, extremely happy bystander.
That's my favorite line. Right there. This entire cutscene.
The brutes.
The Arbiter, he takes his punishment like a man. Look at him.
Drawn quite a crowd. If they came to hear me,
Good old Tartarus.
they will be disappointed. Are you sure?
Boy, these voices. Amazing.
Put a little depth of field in. Sure, why not?
Ouch.
I mean, one of the challenging things, you see how quickly the timing of this hasn't changed, but swapping back and forth between these environments, and all Halo cinematics are in real time, right? So you got to be running the stuff and loading textures and all that sort of thing, and we just couldn't quite do it. And the white flashes that you see in the game are actually hiding some stuff behind the scenes. So yeah, put back, took out some of the white flashes.
Thank you.
Uh-oh.
Oh, yeah.
Little comedy.
Comedy. And that was cool because we had two voices saying something at the same exact time, which was not easy for us to do. In the cinematics.
That's true. See, the grunt wasn't quite tall enough. He had to stand on the other guy's shoulder.
Got it.
There was an idea at one point to have little engineers, the character that we never put in the Halo games, sort of floating gas bag character, float by on Legendary with a little ballpark tray of wieners and caramel corn and cotton candy.
Next time we'll leave a month for the Easter eggs.
Yeah, we really should.
Well, Jason, how did the skulls
Here she
come
blinks.
in at the end?
The only time that she blinked ever.
Did the skulls come in at the last minute, or were you always planning on doing the
It
skulls?
actually came in after the last minute.
I forget who modeled this, but I didn't quite realize how big and fiery that effect was going to be. But I love how the Arbiter sits here and takes that huge burning
He can take it,
thing. He's tough. The Arbiter is tough.
Now, Cortana looks slightly different than she did in Halo 1. What happened there?
Cortana changes her appearance. A girl's got to stay
Rotten
fashion forward.
Yes, sir.
You have the Mac gun, Cortana. As soon as they come in range,
Ooh, he almost said Cortana.
Ooh.
fleet that destroyed Reach was 50 times this.
What's on the back of his head?
Well, just like Captain Keyes in the first game,
Yes.
he too has a neural interlace.
Ah.
Just in case someone needs to punch him in the head and take his coat.
I need a weapon. Once again, great line.
Again, if you did watch the first part of the Halo 1 cinematics, there were no playback animations and very little AI work in the Halo 2 cinematics, it was almost entirely, well, 99%, I'd say, custom animated, keyframe animated, which was a big change. Which was a big change for us from Halo 1 to Halo 2.
Hey, it looks like the gameplay section of this particular sequence is edited and scored, and all sorts of things are happening. What's going on here?
Marty.
It's all
I
right.
think what we were trying to achieve was a more full representation of the game.
Okay. All right. Which meant more work for me. the Aussie. Oh, here's the scene that no one actually ever saw. That's what we're showing you right now.
Well, it's a real challenge in Halo games because we do have this cinematic storytelling. We put a lot of our storytelling in the cinematics to get people to pay attention.
To anything except a grunt.
Right.
Looks like there were more ships in the sky than I remember.
Particles was one of those things that was a real challenge for put a lot of them on screen.
Stop, grunt.
Wow. Miranda's little hat.
This is cut like an MTV thing. What? This is quick. I can hardly follow it.
Oh, just let it go.
I remember hearing you guys bicker about this.
Boom!
Oh, see?
Super
The carrier that no one ever sees. There it is. Beautiful.
I think no one ever saw it, Marty, because you never attached a sound to it.
That's because I never saw it.
Inside your head now.
Now,
Oh, the pickle.
Jason, do you remember why we put the Covenant Space Pickle in Halo 2?
Okay, Jason, explain this
I
one.
just remember you were supposed to hitch it to the back of a Jeep and drive it.
That's right, I forgot about that.
You're supposed to drive it all the way across the ship. That would have been awesome.
That would have been awesome.
The Warthog, the original space station, right, it was supposed to be a zero-G training facility where there was a big open environment with warthogs and all that sort of stuff, right? And you were supposed to put the bomb in the back of a little trailer, right, that attached to the warthog, and then drive it to the human space station.
That would have been fun.
That would have been a good time.
That would have been awesome.
But the reason why we have the bomb
I know what you're thinking.
Boy, that looked fast.
is because the
Unfortunately for
original plan was to have a level after this one
Oh, yeah.
called Covenant Ship.
Covenant ship.
And the Master Chief, much like he did in the announcement trailer for Halo 2, there was no bomb. He would just man up, pop the airlock, bam, land on the Covenant ship, tear it apart from the inside.
Right. But instead, you did probably one of the most amazingly ridiculous cutscenes in the history of games.
Well, I figure if you're gonna cut a level, this is the way to cut it.
I won't.
By creating just as much work.
Based on this cinematic alone.
No, you just add a giant Covenant space pickle. Gunk.
So somehow, the airlock
Yeah.
depressurization shoots the pickle
Yep.
perfectly towards the Covenant ship.
That's right.
The Chief's good.
And then who exactly, while he's floating through the air, who blasts this open for him?
The bombers come in, don't you see? See, here they come.
Is somebody telling them to do that? Like Cortana, maybe?
Let's just say that Cortana,
Okay.
she talks to other people while
Okay.
you're doing stuff.
And the music is too loud for us to hear that, which
That's
is good.
I think the music is definitely too loud.
Wow, the Covenant ship level was going to be awesome.
You were gonna go in there and
Eventually steal a Wraith and end
Wow.
up shelling like the power core of the Covenant ship.
that's right. And it was one of the missions where Miranda played a big part too.
Here's what I love.
Yeah.
His legs themselves propel him enough out of here, and then he knew that the explosion would then also shoot him in exactly the right direction.
It's almost like Marty thinks we're not making epic sci-fi space opera.
Well, Rick, he do pretty good.
And that's it. Comedy always distracts. It's good.
But yeah, Miranda. I mean, unfortunately, she really had her big introduction in the Covenant ship level,
Yeah.
where she was inside the ship, running around with her ODSTs for a little bit too.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Now, these two cinematics in a row, it's interesting. They both represent two different the announcement trailer for Halo 2 was sort of what we just did, and now this is very similar to the E3 trailer.
Right.
Interesting, and we got it in the game anyway, yeah.
Some of the same elements. But, I mean, the one thing we didn't have in the E3 trailer, right, was the huge, giant Covenant walking tank.
That's right. Or the pickle.
Or the pickle, that's true.
I remember how many times that guy missed his gun with that clip.
Little sync problem.
That was like 3 months of...
Whoa.
Here it comes.
There it is. What is that? Ladies and gentlemen, this should have been a surprise to all the fans.
Giant Covenant walking tank. A Halo 1 idea executed in Halo 2. It's good stuff. And Jen, you remember that in the recording studio?
Yes.
We said, hey, Jen, can you just... And she grabbed the lamp that was lighting up her script and just gave it a little tap. Oh! Marty, you're a huge jerk. Killing that poor little guy. Jones, walk us through this encounter.
There's some bad guys you shoot them. It's really fun. The best part is the snipers. The big argument about whether the sniper should kill you in one shot or not on Legendary.
Little buggers. Hey, you know what you should be able to do? You should be able to hit the B button and take that turret off its stand.
That would be cool.
Awesome. Why do we call them drones, not buggers? Oh, that's right, because bugger means something else in different places around the world.
Our guys are still calling them buggers. It's about 50-50. Oh,
There's always that point in the Halo game, right, where you gotta introduce the hunters.
And they have that special sweet spot in the back.
Mm-hmm.
It's their area.
Their special area.
I don't like to be shot in their area.
Oh, look at that. That was nice. A little lip sync.
There's a great deal of combat dialogue in Halo 2, Marty. You might not remember this.
Yes, 20,000 lines. I do remember it.
Oh my gosh, Tyson and I worked on levels so long. Snipers are like bacon, they make anything better.
Mm-hmm. Wait, even on Legendary when they shoot you with one shot?
Yep.
And the Covenant, the Elite Landing Pods was one of those things that we just didn't, which was so cool in that trailer, where we didn't quite have time to well, put them everywhere, if I had my brothers. Have them slamming down all around you.
Did you get them slamming in here? You
Yeah.
should.
Yep.
Oh, you didn't.
I'm sorry, I was watching the rocket launcher blow up the ghost. I didn't hear anything you guys said.
Yes, because that was cool. Oh,
Big jerk.
Also, something nobody saw.
Well, it's really hard to get people to look at the giant hole in the ceiling when you put them in a vehicle that's moving 1,000 miles per hour and enemies in front of them. Not impossible.
oh, wow! It flew through that tunnel fast.
It was a longish tunnel. Mr. David Cross, ladies and gentlemen.
Michelle Rodriguez. Great voice. Come on, David. Oh, here comes Scully.
Of course. Scully's always bringing you good stuff.
Oh, well, there's some depth of field I'm not remembering.
You gotta put it back in.
That's David Cross acting. That's amazing.
Well, one of the things that we always do in a Halo game is have a little bit of legendary on different difficulty levels. If you play on different difficulty levels,
Yes.
you'll get something a little bit different, a little bit of different dialogue. So if someone's listening to this commentary and doesn't know that yet, this is one of those cinematics. If you start this level on different difficulty levels, Johnson says different things.
Oh, wait, here we go. Now, you have been criticized for that line, Joe. I don't know if you realize that. I think it's one of the best lines ever. But there are some people who think it's a little on the sort of cheesy side.
When have I ever written a cheesy line of dialogue?
I don't know. I wouldn't call it cheesy at all.
I think that line's brilliant.
You know, I think that line really, Marty.
Yes.
I think what it is it's really one of those really truthful lines that I really channeled from personal experience. My wife's not listening to this.
Did you get any Laura Prep on?
Now, at one point, that part of the level was filled with water, wasn't it?
That's true. There was some water. Yeah, at least one of those areas.
Jones and his anti-water ways. You used to like water so much, man, in Marathon. What happened?
Yeah, water's in one spot in the game, like 20 square feet of water, and it doesn't work in the last 2 weeks. It's one of the things that doesn't get fixed. Sadly enough.
Man, I didn't even want to think about all the fun bugs that was involved with this. All the months where you got tossed off, fell through. But a really fun fight.
So in Halo 2, we really, really enjoyed the moving giant pieces of geometry.
Yeah, what were they called now?
Moving BSPs?
Moving BSPs. You and your mad moving BSP plans. That is some
Now, wait a minute.
good-looking effects work.
How exactly?
And you shot the biggest, blowiest thing you could find.
Okay. I understand now. You mothers.
Extract the chip and return to an amber cone.
Little texture camera.
Sir, the probe is bugging out. Request permission to engage.
Probably, I mean, I think pound for pound, one of the most. It seems pretty simple, but one of the more complex cinematics in the game, just in terms of switching from little pieces of the world where the characters are with their own special lighting, and then going to these big environments outside, and then having all these texture cameras. This was definitely the cinematic that pushed the engine the hardest.
Really awesome camera work.
Really great storyboards by Mr. Lee Wilson, and some really great roughed out stuff by C.J. Cowan. But yeah, it was a really
Kaboom.
a really ambitious cinematic that was probably a little bit more ambitious than we could pull off.
It looks like we pulled it off here.
Mr. Steve Scott. And I remember Steve.
I remember that fact.
I could not for the life of me get that effect to move properly down the street. That one that kept coming down the street.
Right.
And I remember I finally got it working. And I mean, you know me, I decided I can make it a little bit better. And I totally screwed it up. And I had to go back to Steve the next day and say, Steve, remember that thing that you placed for me that you've done it about 8 times? And God bless him, Steve Scott smiled and fixed it, but oh man, I felt bad about that. And you, Jones, who wanted to cut this part of the cinematic, admittedly, this is a pretty long cinematic.
Yeah, it's true. I did. Yeah, you're right. I remember complaining about this one.
Admittedly, I was wedded to the teat line,
The
but I
teat.
think it's true. This is really Tartarus's introduction. Otherwise, he becomes
Yeah, just another gray-haired brute.
just another gray-haired brute.
Kevin Michael Richardson was Tartarus.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
Marty, with your
Backwards.
satanic play the record backwards speaking here.
Which you guys had no idea, actually, there was real words to it. And that's screwed everybody up thinking there's some secret message going on.
Mm-hmm.
I was wondering what's the secret message. I still didn't know that there were real world words there.
Oh, Jason.
Truth's go-to gesture.
Nice.
Little finger. That's right.
Should have been a sound effect on that.
Elites without their armor on,
Ooh.
they got swimmers' bodies.
Yes, they're sort of leathery.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Johnny Buckets. John Buckets with some really great cinematic animation in this scene.
The opposite. See, seems to me we had to re-record that line. Yeah.
This is the part in the game, I think, where people start to go, why the hell are we spending so much time with this Arbiter guy?
Well, most people are like, yeah, when do I get to be Master Chief again? What is all this backstory, exposition stuff? I'm not paying attention right now.
Yeah.
Halo something, this dude, he's
And
disgraced.
There's definitely...
The people who pressed the A button and skipped ahead were probably pretty surprised.
Now, do you remember, Jason, when we were talking about making the heretics all hunters?
Yeah. No. What?
Yeah, there was a time in Halo 2 where the plan was,
All hunters.
well, the heretic leader would be a hunter,
Oh.
and most of the heretics that you fought in the next level were all hunters. And don't forget that early on in Halo 2 days, where you went to go attack the heretics was actually the moon near the first Halo ring, the old infamous Alpha Moon environment.
Yeah, right.
Oh.
And that Alpha Moon environment, which became Gas Giant, where they killed the heretic leader, or a gas mine. I think some of that geometry actually got used again. I mean, completely tweaked, but for the Sentinel Wall level, right? At that same sort of design. But yeah, originally in Halo 2, you were supposed to go as the Arbiter to the moon that you saw in the first Halo game, and that's where the heretics had holed up. And they were going to be hunters. Goddamn, that sounds cool.
I'm trying to listen to the cinematic.
Yeah.
You can't just sit and be mesmerized in the developer commentary section.
Miguel Ferrer is the heretic, which is very cool.
One of the few times in the game where we had we're able to afford some great dynamic lights. That
Here he goes.
What would you name your arbiter?
How in the world does his lips make those noises? He sounds like just a normal guy talking, but his lips are like, what is that?
Oh, hi, Cherry.
During the Covenant, we took an oath. According to our state,
Robert Davi, Spec Ops Commander.
blood of our father, on the blood of our son, we swore to
Spec Ops Commander? He's a special operations commander of the Covenant.
That's right, Spec Ops Commander.
of neither pity
And he comes from Brooklyn or something, which is really amazing.
nor Lord's creation, to forge gas their
Ah, turn on that methane. That's right. And I remember Jay. I mean,
The last minute.
The last minute, one of the last Foley things that went in. But worth it, Marty.
Absolutely.
Worth every.
Had to have it in there.
That's right. You know
Now
what I gotta say?
that's nice.
I definitely have my favorite piece of music in the game. This piece, second favorite.
Cool. See?
Marty, if someone hit the A button at any time in this cinematic, in about 15 seconds, they're for a really big size.
This sequence of cinematics is what, 25, 30 minutes long? What is it?
Oh, come now. Let me put it this way, it's not quite as long as the grave mine section. But we'll get to the reason why
Oh,
that's
yeah.
a little bit longer than it should be.
Why is that cable a different color? It's almost like it's gonna get detached later.
This is good.
This is all good. And see, people are like, okay, I'm not really paying attention, but eventually I'm going to be the Master Chief because I want to be the, get back to shooting those Covenant.
What's wrong?
Wait a minute.
As much as I think we all have mixed feelings about the Arbiter decision,
Yes.
and we absolutely didn't execute on it in the way that we really wanted to, but Halo 2, because we made this choice, I mean, all of a sudden just blew the doors open on the Covenant in this interesting way that now in Halo 3, I think we can go back to the Master Chief, that singular perspective, and we, just as people making the game, know so much more about that other side of the story. We can create something that's richer, and I think people who played Halo 2, it's kind of this, we took the knock, we made the investment, and then I think we're a lot better off for it. At least that's what
I love this
think.
thing.
That's why I get to sleep at night.
Yes, Joe, I think you're absolutely right. This is what I love, though. Your armor system's not as new as ours, and we're going to, just completely jip you out of the invisibility in about, 10 seconds. Oh, that worked out
Game
great.
designer. What was fun about that?
On Legendary, it was even less than 10 seconds.
Was it really?
I basically didn't even do anything.
I remember we went around and around in terms of, because here you are as an elite, right, fighting other elites and other grunts.
Basically, at this point, a lot of people are going, I don't know who to shoot or why, but I'm shooting everything that moves.
Well, this is why having the heretics be hunters would have been genius.
Yeah,
But
okay.
I remember the conversation, I think I had it with you and Jamie, where I said, 100 heretics! And you and Jamie looked at me and thought, for some reason, that a whole level populated by hunters wouldn't be very much fun. I don't know why.
Yeah, it's true.
You'd have a lot of areas to aim at.
Hey, what kind of ship is that there, Joe?
That, my friend, is a Seraph Fighter.
Mm.
It is a cinematic model, rarely seen. But, funny thing, the Seraph Fighter is actually the old Halo Covenant tank, right? That Shikai built.
Yeah.
That ship that you just saw, that sort of round, almost, what do you call it, cuttlefish
You'll see
type
it at
thing.
the end of the level.
Used to be a Covenant tank back in the day. And maybe again.
I worked with your guys on the sound for the Covenant carbine and the Covenant sniper rifle for so long, Marty. They got so sick of me.
I remember that.
Well, what did you not like about the...
Oh, very tricky. I don't know. It's weird. It's weapon sounds. They don't work. They don't work. They don't work. They don't work. And then you find something that works, and it's kind of hard to. Did I ever come complain about this music, Marty?
This is Incubus. I think you did. I think you complained about every piece from somebody else. So, which actually kind of makes me feel good, even though. There you go.
One of the things
Yeah, that's one of the things we experimented with was some like music from some outside groups, Incubus and Breaking Benjamin, which I personally thought was pretty cool. There were some people like Jason who were not as excited about it.
Well, we sort of across the board in Halo 2, I mean, we definitely went out, we got, whether it was Robert Davi or Michelle Rodriguez, some people, more known people to do the voices as well, and I think that turned out great. See, right there he's sniffing with his nose, you see? Oh, wait.
Look at him.
Oh no, not again.
Oh, what a jerk, what a huge jerk.
Oh, Miguel Ferrer. Yes. Yes.
In a world where your enemies and allies look the same.
Using a holodrome.
This is good. The Robert Davi on Miguel Ferrer macho
Ooh. Who's got the
stare
deep
down.
voice? And then Keith David. I mean, come on, these voices.
It's good. Good stuff.
Infection forms, carrier forms, most brilliant idea ever. Actually, originally, I think it was the carrier forms just blew up. And then somebody had the idea they should blow up and spit out infection forms.
Whose idea was that?
That was the birth of genius. I don't remember.
Oh. I think that was my idea. Now that
Yeah.
That clearly was a sound decision.
That was, I guess, probably the third time you saved Halo 1 and 2.
there you go.
This will save me from the storm, but you will be consumed.
Make Arbiter angry. Fuck.
Yes.
Now, what are those elites walking on over there? Just a little bit of thin air, it's fine. I remember the day that the dip in the floor got cut. We didn't quite have time to... I mean, the dip in the floor was made.
You know, it's amazing the things you still see, because I've never seen half of these.
Each one of these bugs is burned into my brain, Marty.
You're so obsessed about the bug that you missed the Arbiter's best line of the entire game. The cable. I'm going to cut it.
Yes.
I think a certain Mr. Jason Jones wrote that line, if I'm not mistaken. You know, when you're sitting down with Jones, for people that are listening to this, and you're about to, work on the story, usually what Jones does is he comes to you at the beginning of a game, and
With a line that has to be
with
in.
like 2 lines, and one of the handful of lines that you came to me at the beginning of Halo 2 and said, I got, here's the story of Halo 2. Oh, okay, Jason, what's the story of Halo 2? The story of Halo 2 is the cable. I'm going to cut it, and I'm a monument to all your sins. Bam, done. That's the story. Oh, okay, that sounds really cool. Hey, who says those things?
I don't know. You make it up.
Oh, and the other one was in Space Station, Master Chief looking out, Earth burning below, only blood will pay for this. Those were the 3 lines that Jason came at the beginning of Halo 2. Only blood will pay for this, the
What
cable I'm
happened to
going to
that
cut
line?
it. Bam, monument to all your sins.
But we didn't do the only blood will pay
Everything
for
else
this.
wrote itself.
Heritage. Arbiter. I would
So
rather
why did we cut the only blood will pay for this line?
Well,
It's too cool.
well,
I think we cut the whole mission.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that ended up on the same graveyard as, well, wait, before I tell that story, there was the worst bug in Halo 2, for me,
For Joe.
was that if you look, Spark's light in the game, not the cinematics here, it's supposed to light when he talks,
Right.
but it's reversed. So in the game, when he talks, it goes dim. So in every single cinematic, poor Spark in the game actually doesn't really talk.
And ladies and gentlemen, when Joe says that's the worst bug in the game, and it's a bug that no one in the world has ever noticed, it just shows you the kind of compulsive, crazy person he is.
Well, I think at the end of the day, not to get too weepy on Oprah's couch, but
Weepy.
But the worst thing about Halo 2 for me was that in Halo 1, it was all, look, I could go in, I could script it with AI, I could do playbacks, and I could fix stuff, right? But in Halo 2, we definitely went to this system where it was a lot of custom animation, really long lead times, and you sure, something like the monitor, if you caught it, you could fix, but it was really hard to go back and fix simple things in Halo 2 cinematics, unfortunately. But the thing I was going to mention before, I'm not letting you off the hook, is remember what Miranda was going to do to the Master Chief.
His heritage imperiled.
Would you like to tell the children what Miranda was going to do?
Yeah, should we wait until the right moment? I think it's still a few missions from now. But I think the phrase arc welding a thermonuclear bomb to his armor comes to mind.
That's right. Miranda was going to strap a bomb to the Chief's back after signing
Awesome.
a deal with the devil with the prophets. And why was she going to do that?
Why didn't you
Because
do that?
She was
Still-
mad about
still
Captain
mad.
Keyes,
Still
her
mad.
father's death.
Punched her dad in the face.
Do it and find out where we are.
You guys just imagine the heretic who just talked to his entire piece.
I know.
That's how we feel about the heretic.
Wait for it. Cigar spit take. Coming up. How many people do you think were shocked by that?
Say what? Another Halo?
Johnson looked shocked.
That's why it's called Halo 2. Now, very few people notice. Right here, we're hearing a new monk melody that represents the monks of Halo 2 instead of the monks of Halo 1. Very few people know that.
Wait, you were getting mad at me because I noticed Spark's eyeball not blinking the right way?
I'm just saying, it's a subtle thing. I didn't obsess about it.
Here we go.
Again, Halo 2, this is the mother of all exposition scenes. This is the big... And isn't it funny that it's another member of the Keyes family
Yes.
that has given it to you?
They call it Halo 2.
Over the target in 5.
Jay Wineland's cameo appearance.
Look at how big that ring is. ODST pods, good stuff.
That's cool.
Oh, what was the awesome thing that was going to happen here? Oh yeah, the pods were going to go by the Pelicans on the way down or something like that. There's something I was completely excited for and I just never came to terms with.
Well, what we were gonna do there is that it was gonna be first person, right? Just like the Silent Cartographer intro. We were gonna put little windows in the ODST pod, and you were gonna be sitting. We would start with the Pelicans flying past you, right? And we would snap to first person, and you would be able to watch them get blown in the sky as you were heading down.
Oh no, that was it, right? It was the Pelicans were coming down. You went past them, and you knew you had to take out these guns
Yes.
before the Pelicans got close enough to get shot down.
You're right. That's right.
And then there was some pressure of time and frame rate and la 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 la.
Welcome to making
Oh, lack of
games.
will, really.
Yeah, right.
Oh, ODSTs.
The Aussie, he survives. He's a survivor.
Completely. Oh.
Poor little guy.
Jason likes the rocket launcher that hones in on things.
What, in the game, the Pelican that took 15 minutes to get there?
If I was a megalomaniac, and I'm not.
That was a good line.
That was a good line.
Rob Smith wrote that line.
Sergeant Stacker.
Oh, you gotta give the shotgun passenger a sniper rifle or a rocket launcher or something.
That's it. You know, people are dying all the time and he's making fun.
See, because Johnson, during this level, he was in the Pelican, you see,
Yes.
with Miranda
There you go.
flying around. Eye in the sky. See, this was one of those things in Halo 2 where all of a sudden Johnson, who was just a Marine that died 1,000 times in Halo 1, we made him a cinematic character. And do you remember, Marty, the
Yes.
day If Jason came up to you and me and looked us square in the eye and said, if you're going to make Johnson a cinematic character, that's fine. But I will kill you both if you don't replace him with as good a voice actor as Scully to run around with you all the time.
Yeah.
Wait, did we ever do that? I forget.
No, because I don't.
I know we're still
I don't
alive.
understand why you mentioned that, because he's now going to kill us.
I think the time is right that I now kill you.
Oh, Artie, you got to talk about the singing.
Singing Prophet. Listen to what he's singing. He's singing the Halo Monk melody. And apparently, when you translate what he's doing, it's just actually talking instead of singing. I'm not sure I quite understand that, but that's okay.
Well, why are you the doubting Thomas tonight?
Oh, the Magic Index.
Watch the Magic Index from game to game.
Yes, that index. Mm-hmm.
The magic MacGuffin that can be pocketed and
Hey,
tossed this way and that way.
it's a nice video effect on that.
We could actually do video effect in the game. We just couldn't do it in the game.
But I just saw it there. I'm sure it was in the game.
And finally, just like in, remember in Halo 1, we had that mission where you were going to go in and assassinate the Prophet. And here it is,
This is in Halo 2.
Halo 2.
And here we got some nice, great moving big pieces
Big
of geometry.
chunks of moving stuff. Oh, some interesting limp body physics.
Thing is, Jones just doesn't give up on a good idea. Don't kill the Prophet in one game, you kill him in the next.
Don't get the bomb arc welded to your armor in one game, do it in the next.
Uh-oh.
Get inside the temple and kill regret before it can stop us.
Oof.
See, now, notice how that music played right through the end of the cinematic into the beginning of the thing. See, that's what makes
Right in his
that's
area.
cool.
Notice how that grenade went right on his business. Poor grunts.
Oh, there was nothing more fun than plasma pistol battle rifling the elite honor guard. Actually, maybe jumping on his throne and beating him down. Maybe that was more fun.
That's cool, but the Prophet's little hover chairs have giant guns on them.
Well, I mean, wouldn't you have giant guns on them in the world where
That was
a half metric ton cyborg was about to
And the way you kill him, all I see is you punch him.
bludgeon him to death?
That's great. Okay, I'm gonna grab that gun now because I
No, you can't.
All right.
Now, of course, where do you run? Where do you run if a giant alien spaceship is about to toast you?
I don't know.
You run backwards, off
When I
the
jumped
back.
down that ledge in the game, I always died.
Well, here is
Marty, do you turn into a big whiner after 10 p.m. in the evening instead of a pumpkin?
and this is where we cut the second level in Halo 2, called
Oh, I don't remember.
Forerunner Tank.
Oh, Forerunner.
Oh yeah. Oh,
That's
Forerunner Tank. And the greatest thing about Forerunner Tank is that Jones, for a year, we had this level on the whiteboard.
Yes.
And I would ask him, and Paul would ask him, and whoever would ask him, say, Jones, so what is a Forerunner tank, and what does it do? And Jones, do you even know what it was supposed to do? Describe to me in 30 words
Describe
or
it
less
now, during this,
what
like,
a Forerunner
really long
tank was and what it was supposed to do.
be awesome, blow things up, glow a lot from little windows, move real fast.
All right, fine, that was less than 30 words. But the chief was supposed to go on this, another piece of moving sort of BSP geometry, right? And then,
Awesomeness would ensue.
yes, and you would really be introduced to the Gravemind because his big tentacles would come crashing down upon you, and you would basically sort of be going through the, not the
Oh yeah.
bowels, but the caverns of the Gravemind, and you would be introducing yourself with big pieces of geometry, tentacles that would slam down in front of you, cut off pathways.
Oh yeah.
You know, Jason's revealing all his innermost secrets of how to design great games. Awesomeness would ensue. That's all he has to say. And that's game design. Now I get it.
I just have to get you guys off my back so I can do my work.
This exchange of hats. I love that line. It's coming up.
What's up? Like that little moment between the two of them? It's good stuff. Poor Truth, he's so world weary. He's got the weight of the whole Covenant on his shoulders.
Yes.
And I think one of the tactical errors we might have made, Marty,
Of hats. What? Hmm?
is in the world where we wanted to convince people that Truth wasn't the worst guy in the world.
How in the world was that ever something we thought would actually happen?
Don't get me wrong, Michael Wincott, genius performance.
Yes, but
But in the
never going to
world
make
where-
you feel like he was going to be possibly be your friend.
Again, I maintain that if the heretic leader had been a hunter, problem solved. And I'm allowed to get away with that statement for the same reason you're allowed to get away with Forerunner tank. Awesomeness would ensue.
Foreigner tank would have been an incredible level.
I believe it.
It's a tank.
It's a tank. It glows.
I like the little halo holograms on their headdress.
Mm-hmm. And I mean, in Halo 1, if we had actually made the Prophet an elite with a funny hat, how tragic would that have been? Because here we have a
Yeah, because now we
really
get to,
great looking
we've
character.
been stuck with that. The great Johnny.
Well, apparently we lost all the assault rifles between Halo 1 and Halo 2, so I think we probably could have transformed the Prophet.
And the pistols.
And the pistols disappeared.
There's a Covenant sabotage expedition to take away the human pistol because it was just too good.
And here,
I think a book is coming out about that.
yes. Here, what we're starting to do, right? We're building some momentum.
Ooh,
The strand of the Chief's story and the strand of the Arbiter's tale, they're starting to come together. Who
Yeah.
was that guy that killed the Prophet of Regrets? It's coming together,
Gotcha.
building to a head. Keep that in mind.
I'm following it. Uh-oh.
Thank God that this weapon was powerful enough to every single time shoot that thing's arm off, because that was one of those little serendipitous things that was not a custom animation, just blew that sucker's arm right off. I gotta say, what
I like
probably one of
these
the
little
few
guys,
times in
little-
Halo 2 that you actually see the ring.
Now, are these guys sort of reminiscent of the marathon dudes that float around and fire at you? What are those things called?
Defense
Mad defense drones. Marathon automated defense drone, MADD. No.
Oh. Okay.
But the Sentinels are.
God damn, there were some just beautiful, drop-dead, gorgeous moments in Halo 2. I mean, I don't know, sometimes we get down on Halo 2, but there's some beautiful, beautiful stuff that the guys did.
Oh, killing Flood with a sword, pretty fun.
Totally.
Although, nothing really beat being locked in a room with Guilty Spark.
Look at that shot. Nice shot, Joe. I like that. What was that mean? No, I don't remember. Did you shoot that one?
What, on the just doing this running through playback?
Yeah, yeah.
Quite sure. Ah, yes. The Sentinel Factory.
How many people know that's a Sentinel Factory, I wonder? Blowing up and then crashing, and then you get into it later on.
Why aren't you looking at it? Who's this?
And this was the original, again, redone a lot, but the Alpha Moon sort of
Oh, yeah.
geometry.
The original first level, second level.
Original
First
second.
level.
Yep.
Whoops.
Oh. First Arbiter level.
I didn't say that.
How many levels did we actually not do, let's say?
I think it was
Cut.
71.
Well, let's not ruin the surprise. But so far we've cut Covenant ship,
Yes.
where you go in and take turret apart from the inside. Forerunner tank,
Forerunner tank.
which was going to be awesome.
Yeah.
Awesomeness would
I don't like the
ensue.
way this is going, Joe.
So 2 so far. But I mean, that's what development is all about.
Oh, watch it. And now, did you hear that line? That was delivered as an elite, but it was still by David Scully, who also is an elite voice.
That's right.
In case people.
Wow, those audio guys are just at the top of their game.
This was some nice stuff in here, Martin. And J and Seapo.
Absolutely.
But this was actually, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Jones, but this was, I think, some of the ideas that you had for 400 tank, right? I mean, this piece of geometry was, I mean, it wasn't going to look like this, but the
Because
big,
it would be a tank.
but it was the
Instead of a
Arbiter on
bogey.
one side, Master Chief on the other, both charging for the icon index, right?
It was a pale shadow of what 400 Tank was going to bring to this world.
You have no idea what 400 tank was going to be.
There's so many. This thing was agonizing. So many times you felt that this geometry got flung off at 1,000,000 miles an hour. Like the flood all jumped onto it and then immediately exploded into 1,000,000 pieces.
Tartarus, being a helpful kind of guy. Sure, I trust him.
Do you know how hard it was to put sounds on those opening? C-Paul had to work forever because those actual giant opening doors were like, in reality, like 10 miles away, and the sound just would not play in sync because it was the speed of sound would screw it up.
That's right. Hold on to that grave mine tentacle.
I think someone reused the Foley from Halo 1.
What? But it's the same index thingy.
You know, your father never asked me for help either.
Wow.
Johnson's got the lines, my friend.
Mackenzie, Perez.
It just,
Well, see, again,
You hear me,
he
Marie?
loses tentacles all the time. That's just one of the things that happen.
one of the things in
He sheds them like hair.
the Gravemind was actually a much bigger presence in the original imagining of this game, where he was. I mean, his tentacles were sort of seeping out everywhere, and you would see them much earlier on.
His tentacles were kind of racing like freight trains behind half-open doors. Things like that.
Exactly. You're right. 400 tank would have been awesome.
Johnson, you all right? Johnson!
Miranda's capable. She's got some moves.
Boom.
No, all the facial animation in Halo 2 was done in scripting, just going in and setting poses and then interpolating between them. But that all got put in that was the last thing I did in Halo 2. And I remember going to Harold, our new illustrious leader back then, test Poobah,
Right.
and saying, Harold, just give me 24 hours, please, so I can go back and put emotion on these guys' faces. And Harold, he did it.
Just give me 24 hours so I can go back and touch every script I ever wrote in the entire game.
Wait, what could have gone wrong?
What could have gone wrong?
So now I think we can go back to the bomb thing where the Chief's been kind of taking Miranda's orders the whole game, and he comes back from one of his little missions with some little trinket he picked up from Miranda, and he finds her like in Congress with the prophets in the back of some phantom. And it wasn't just because of her dad in Halo 1, but she chose not to trust the Chief because of this. He's going crazy. He's all worried about the ring going off. And sorry,
It was going to be cool.
We have
I'm
to
reminded
listen
of
to the
all your
line,
sins.
the line.
There's the line. And no one knows exactly what that means except Jason.
and then it made perfect sense that Miranda and the prophets get together and say, "Hey, let's send your Tin Man down with a bomb to take out the grave mine." Oh, that would have been genius. The most genius part was when the Chief has the bomb. Jamie's gonna kill me for even talking about this. I hope he never listens to it. There's no way I'll get this far into the movie.
This far into it.
You with the bomb, like
Actually, no one's listening to us right now, so don't even worry about it.
in first person.
This is a launch cinematic.
Yeah, you with the bomb arc welded to your back, with your back to like this big hole, and a bunch of ODSTs like backing you into the hole until you jump, and then them throwing like a SMG down after you. Oh, that would have been genius.
You know,
I
I
still
gotta
never
say,
quite understood then.
the thing which I really did like about that cinematic,
Shut up, Marty.
setting aside the Miranda, is the sort of moment of weakness, the Chief getting knocked down and
Oh wait,
yeah, he's kind of in a bad way, huh?
I forgot about this part.
Yeah, this is the other monitor. I love this.
401 Penitent Tangent.
Oh no, this
This is the guy from.
right in between preceding this cinematic was where Forerunner Tank was going to take place. That's why this is such a long cinematic stretch, remember? We would fight through Sentinel Wall.
Most of the time, the reason it's long cinematics is because you decided to make them long cinematics. That's what I remember.
What? I'm trying to explain. Arbiter would be kicked down the hole by Tartarus, right? And then, bam, Forerunner Tank. You'd see the Chief's side of the story. They would meet up at the grave mine. But when we lost Forerunner Tank, we had this really big cinematic, big important cinematic that unfortunately could go nowhere, but right next to another big long cinematic.
It's not a Platt, it's not Audrey. Although, I don't know why I keep thinking about Audrey.
Well, there was a big discussion where, you know, as originally designed, the grave mine was this seething mass of corpses, right?
Right.
His teeth were skulls, and he talked from the shadows. And when we moved to the world where we wanted him to have lip sync and to actually
Halo is a weapon.
speak,
Prophets are making a big mistake.
maybe not the best decision in the world, but one which, in the world where we didn't have Forerunner Tank to introduce him properly, we sort of needed to have the moment, the long moment of the grave mind introduction.
That's a great voice. I mean, come on. D. Baker. And Joe, why does the grave mine speak in rhyme?
Why did the grave mind speak in rhyme? I think he speaks in rhyme because I know that it really made Jason angry.
It was, yeah, it induced such an effect in me.
Well, I mean, inscrutable alien creatures
Often rhyme.
often rhyme.
I am the pentameter.
Bam! Book!
All of us vaguely concerned.
Although the effect when you actually see it on the screen is, yeah, much better than the way I imagined it happening on the script.
The rhyming.
Yes.
The old get it off the page and up on its feet.
There you go.
Where it's too late to change it.
Yes.
You
You know,
D. Baker did a great job as the grave mine voice, I have to say.
Uh-oh.
Overdubs himself. Oh,
you know when it's hard to get from
Relief.
one place in the Halo universe to another, you know what you do?
Teleport.
You teleport.
Oh my god. Remember how this game originally ended?
oh, don't say.
Wait, never mind.
Oh, we'll get there. We have a whole credit sequence to talk
Yeah,
about.
remember the medallion that the prophet had?
Oh, that's right.
That was the best. That was the best ever.
Tell the story.
It's pretty complicated and really not the best ever, but it was pretty fun.
I think it might be better than Forerunner Tank.
No.
That prophet, truth, he has the index. You've got to take it from him.
Well, we'll have to tell a little bit of it when we get to the final part of Halo 2. Good old High Charity.
Don't fight charity.
At one point, it was going to be a very brightly lit, sort of happy place, right?
It was.
Yep.
Oh.
Cool.
There's always got to be a detention block.
But the aliens, they love purple. And I know that Jason loves purple.
Most of my clothes are purple.
Hey, nice stick.
Oh.
Wait, there's always the point in the game where you gotta rescue your friends. We're just lucky this guy didn't get out of his cell and go, while I was in this cell, I heard the Covenant talking about something they called
Halo 2.
But you know what? Damn it! Why didn't we put that
You
in?
should have done that. What's wrong with you?
Ah, self-referential humor. Only funny to us.
What is that thing in the middle of High Charity, Joe? What is that?
That is the Forerunner ship, the Forerunner Dreadnought.
Forerunner ship sounds like the name of a level we should have had.
We'll get there. Oh, here it comes.
What?
Slip space rupture. It's in Amber Plaid.
Ah, an amber
Okay,
plaid.
up here, make sure you look at it, follow over.
Whoa.
Oh, nice. Jump up there so we can see it crash. Thank you.
Goes around the tower.
What's going on, Cortana?
Man, the Covenant really just, they vacated High Charity. They got the hell out of Dodge when they realized what was going to happen. And I remember just these lines that Truth is saying, remember? We wrote just like a whack of, I don't know what, 40, 50 sort of one-off lines for the Prophet.
I think it was 2000. Yeah, but go ahead.
It wasn't that bad. But actually turned out to be really helpful. Lesson being, Marty,
Yeah.
always better to write some cool stuff,
Absolutely.
record that stuff, and
Always you find a place to use.
always find a place to use it.
Yeah, he loves the fuel rod gun.
I'm picking up 2 more transponders. It's the commander and Johnson. They're closing on Truth's position.
Oh, can you hear it?
They'll need your
What's
help.
that? Oh,
Taylor had a cold that day.
that's right. Well, Miranda had a cold too in one of these cinematics. I think we've already gone past it.
Yeah, no, it was Jen who she came back in for the pickup session at the very last moment, and she had a cold, and we just recorded it that way.
Mm.
I always hear it, but apparently nobody else does.
Do you remember back in the day when Johnson and Miranda had a thing?
What?
Don't you remember that?
No.
Well, I mean, I don't think it got past a conversation that's very similar to the one that we're having now. Let's rewind to however many years ago. Hey, Johns, you know what would be really awesome? Yeah. If Miranda and Johnson had a thing. To which I think you replied, what? And then I got really bitter about that. And so when you came to me and were like, hey, you know what would be awesome?
Miranda,
Is
strap the
you
bomb
have
on your
a
back.
bomb on your back. I was like, no, it wouldn't.
The great Chad A. Joseph.
Wow, Truth is a colossal jerk. I totally didn't see it coming.
What? He's a bad guy? Oh. Prophet of Mercy's dead.
I just hang on that grind for a little while.
All the prophets are gone now.
Marty,
Yes?
beautiful piece.
Thank you. Halo-y. He teleports too, that's amazing.
Well, the Grave Mind sent the two heroes on their own little separate but connected journeys. Circling back, people. We're circling back.
We're gonna meet someday.
They are. They're going to join together in a grand third act finale. Just you wait.
Would that be like the end of Halo 2?
It's true. The end of Halo 2. And see, if the heretic leader had been a hunter, how sweet would it have been if now in the level where you join back up with
The
the hunter,
hunters are joining you
they
up.
come back.
Yes.
Right.
Now, I hope we show that, where the hunters are actually an ally of yours here. Yes.
Good stuff. Little pods. This level turned out really well.
Running around with a bunch of elite buddies with swords who turn invisible right between encounters.
Good.
Never
times.
fails. And you just want to kill the brutes. You can't help it.
Juicy targets. Furry. Yet leathery.
How about some piano music? Yes! Jason's going, piano? What?
So Marty, so what's your theory for the kids? When you're looking at, I mean, you score the cinematics, you put the music in, I understand that, but for the kids, when you look at the level, what's your,
Just
how do you approach it?
desperation. I'm looking for
Just sort
something
of
that'll
close your eyes and rummage
take
around with the
you
hat.
from point A to point B with the right attitude, if possible.
Mm-hmm. Who could it be? Who could be in this tank?
I don't know. What? Ah, but
It's missing mandible.
Commander. Fire to slay beasts.
That's right. The beginning of this level, the cinematic, which we didn't do because we cut forward our tank and had to do bring them together at the Grave Mind teleport thing, was you had actually witnessed the brutes, lining up and executing some elite counselors, the same elite counselors that you saw in the very first cinematic in the game.
Okay, now watch this. I bet you very few people are going to understand the sound effect that's supposed to happen here. What? hear the door slam shut, remember that door slamming shut.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Joe. Because at this point we had decided to cut some levels at the end,
Yes.
and you flipped around some half levels,
Right.
and there were some continuity questions. And Prophet Murphy's still alive. Mercy's still alive. And so this is the. So we're catching up now. The Master Chief is almost caught up.
Two heroes coming together.
Yeah.
Again. That's right. We did do the dividing up the levels and
Yes,
and
flipping them around. Then you tried to like show that no time had passed when we get back to that one moment. And we'll get to that. But it's very confusing. I'm still confused.
Mark.
You guys are like talking, and I'm just like, I'm watching this. I need to re-engage.
Do you know this game? It's Halo 2.
It's called Halo 2.
Boom! But, I mean, there definitely was that point, right, where, I mean, I think one of the saddest things about Halo 2, and there are, don't get me wrong, a lot of awesome things as well, but I think toward the end we knew that we were going to have to make some pretty big cuts, and the speed with which we made those cuts, almost as if we had a backup plan and knew that it was going to have to happen, was, I mean, I'm glad we were efficient, but we were a little bit too efficient. It was we knew it might have to be done.
The cutting is never happy, and it was not.
This is some beautiful. I love the levels here, though. I mean, this is some great looking stuff.
Chris Barrett, right? A mausoleum down below.
Oh, there's so many times where that light bridge didn't work, and you turn it on and run right out, and then fall to your death immediately.
And some of the old Forerunner tank technology, right? We were going to use here. Grave my tentacles, smashing through the windows.
Like freight trains.
Like freight trains. Here you are, back in the inner sanctum of the Hierarchs.
High Charity, the holy city of the Covenant, overrun by the flood.
Again, another Halo moment where you need to make a spectacular leap pursued by endless flood.
Wasn't this going to be a
I
level?
don't want to go, baby, I don't want to go. Originally, this cinematic, you were supposed to be in a warthog, and you were going to launch yourself on the warthog into the compartment of the ship.
The tube.
There goes the
Right. And again, another cool idea that we didn't quite get a chance to execute on for
All right,
Halo 2,
no.
but
Yes.
definitely in there for Halo 3.
We'd started. A lot of it was.
Don't make a girl a promise. You know you can't keep it.
I know I kind of stepped on that line.
Right. Okay, now, meanwhile, let's hear the sound effect.
Okay.
There. That door closing sound
What is that?
was that same door closing sound. See, no time has passed.
That really brings it all together.
See, now we understand that no time has actually passed.
That's
We're
right.
just picking up where we were. Jason even didn't know that.
That was your solo attempt to try to fix the
No,
way
that
we-
was Joe said no. Just put the door closing sound in
That's
again,
what
and
that
people will
sound
realize that no
was.
time has passed. I'm like, I don't think anybody's gonna get that, Joe. Sorry.
That was your idea.
Well, wait a minute, how come you're blaming that on me? Marty.
That's what you told us to do, and I'm like, what? Even I don't get that no time has passed. But it's alright. It was fun.
Well, I mean, let me put it this way. It totally makes sense now when we're watching
When we're
everything.
watching
only
it this
takes
way,
10
yeah.
minutes. Oh, cutting never fun. But hey, at least here we let you be friends with hunters.
This was pretty awesome.
Yes. The hunters have come to our aid.
Because you remember in Gastrite when they were the heretics.
That would have been genius.
Oh no, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
We are sorry.
This mission was really fun.
This is a blast.
You know, this is one of those parts in Halo 2 where I wish it had been a lot longer. Like, this was so much fun, this part of the mission, that it was over too soon.
Okay, good. Oh, nice. See, how many people even know this whole sequence? Because most people just run out there, they never saw that whole thing.
Yeah.
And then the hunters are actually in front of you if you spend your time watching, laying back a little bit.
Marty, do you remember why there used to be a cinematic there? Do you remember why we cut it?
No, I don't.
Well, there used to be a cinematic there where the brutes were actually the soldiers were there
Yeah.
on their knees, and the brutes were going to
Well, we have a
lop off their heads.
little moment there.
Lop off their heads, and this
Yes.
was, unfortunately, right about that time when real world events made that a little bit too real.
Ooh, yeah.
A little bit too real.
It was too politically dangerous.
Yeah. A little bit too hard.
So this is where you actually get to drive the Scarab tank through the. Oh no, wait, you don't.
Like, huh? I really don't remember very much.
This is when your buddy Johnson
Do it, Johnson.
has license to say every awesome line we could come up with. Wow, that Banshee's totally
Yeah.
screwed.
Wow. Well, you just barely make it here. This is cool.
So Jones, you got to talk a little bit about the boss fights in Halo 2.
I really enjoyed the chair. Jumping on the chair and beating the snot out of regret.
Mm-hmm.
That was cool. But it was risky. We really didn't know how those were going to turn out. They're so different. Tartarus is so awesome. Yeah, they're so different from all the rest of the gameplay. You play for an hour and a half, and then you got to do something completely different. And it's not always satisfying, but there's a lot of fun in it.
That was a sort of a late addition, if I remember correctly.
The flags.
Yeah, I didn't understand what the flags are supposed to indicate some sort of rank or something, right?
It's part of the old sort of Japanese soldier flag wearing look about them. But with Covenant technology that makes a breeze blow even if there's not a breeze blow. That's like the
Oh, brilliant. Another great line.
it's almost like scenes between Sergeant Johnson and Guilty Spark write themselves.
Don't shake the light bulb. What are they? I love that.
Here we go. Could you once again explain to me how all this works?
They call it Halo 2.
Yeah.
Okay.
And you
3 radii of the
did
galactic.
he ever say that line the way that you really wanted him to say it? Because I remember we went back and forth on that line for a long.
That was perfect.
Was that a good read?
Chunk.
Oh, Johnson takes it.
Great journey has begun. And the Bruce, not the elite cellular prophetess.
Oh, look at that shot.
That is a giant hammer.
This is all cool.
Birthday cake of doom.
Plus, we end up like I think I end up playing like 3 or 4 pieces of music simultaneously in this boss battle. And what's cool is the final boss battle of the whole game, of course, is going to come after this with the Master Chief, right?
Gosh, I remember jumping off that platform behind those elites so many freaking times.
Johnson helping out, sniping it from the side.
Oh, this is cool. You can go up here. This was fun. I actually think this ended up being kind of fun.
There was a lot of neat stuff in here, but this was definitely my least favorite of the 3
Really?
boss battles. Yeah. Yeah, we tried so hard, so long.
See, I'm more forgiving, except for the fact that it's.
No, I think it's cool. I'm just saying, like,
No, but I mean the most amazing thing that we did here, of course, is that you're ending the game
I
as
put some
the
emotion on her
Arbiter.
face right there. The last thing I did in Halo 2 is to make Miranda's face go right before Harold locked me out of the depot and took away my keys.
Oh,
Got it. Right there, she's thinking, I wish I could
have a motion on my
holographic
face.
and disappear like everybody else.
See, we're playing. This is the Halo 2 monk theme.
Right.
It's different than the Halo 1 monk theme.
It's gathering its dark energies, Marty,
Yes.
and then
Cut away.
dissipates.
Yeah.
Here we go. What you're doing right here, Marty, is you're building up to something big.
What's that?
You're
Johnson riding the
Johnson rides his little buddy.
You never liked that, did you?
We had to get him over there.
Again, there were some great Easter egg ideas for the variety of ways in which Johnson, on the different difficulty levels, would ride Spark.
Should have done it.
Who would be on top, who would be on bottom.
From here?
Johnson was usually on top.
Listen, Tinkerbell, don't make me.
Tinkerbell.
Someone goes to activate the
If I had my druthers, every cinematic would involve Johnson talking to Spark. Oh, but first Johnson comes in upside down.
Hey, where is it?
Da-da-da-da.
It's obviously on the last level of the game. Woo-hoo, I can hardly wait to play this last level. Let's do it.
Yep.
Here we go. Good, great. Master Chief, I'm gonna play it.
117.
Yeah?
Isolate that signal.
Oh man, this is so exciting.
Am I telling you what you're doing on that ship?
Sir, finishing this fight.
Damn straight.
What? Wait. Well, this obviously is the news that's leading us into the last level, right?
Marty, you seem to still harbor a lot of bad feelings about this. But the credits,
Channeling the fans.
credits aren't infinite. So, Jones, walk us through what was supposed to happen right now.
Practically Jason Jones.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah. There was supposed to be a whole mission there, Joe.
Actually, I think there were supposed to be 3 missions.
Well, there was one important one.
That's right. But what was going to happen
But
is
wait a
you were going
minute.
to arrive back at Earth.
But we don't want to say what was going to happen because it never did happen, and that's not part of what Halo 3 is.
I think this is a great example of
Okay, go ahead.
what Bungie does really well,
Mm-hmm.
which is come up with an
Which is
awesome
obfuscate.
idea.
We just make stuff up.
Just come up with a really good idea, not execute it on it the first time around, save it, sit on it, hone it, refine it, and then wham, next game,
There it is.
realize it to its fullest potential.
What was that idea?
It would look different with stencil shadows, all right? We're done recording.
Wow, what a colossal jerk.
Wait, what do you mean? That was like
What?
like putting a stake through the heart of Sentinel Shadows and like pushing it out into the airlock and venting it into space was like the
It's like you
that was like the
strapped
best thing
bomb.
I
It's like he strapped a bomb to stencil shadows back and welded it.
and sent it to kill the last level in the game. Yeah, the whole extra mission there would have ended that game with a bang.
Mhm.
But that was what we had. That was what we had to do. We did everything we could in the time we had. That's
The funny thing is that even though we didn't do that sort of finale in Halo 2, that the final cinematic that you're about to see after the credits is the same as it would have been. You know, even at the end of Halo 2, we never planned for the Master Chief to make good on his promise to Cortana to come back and get her. So we were always going to leave the Chief and Cortana apart.
Well, that could get us into some very sensitive areas, like the Great Grunt Apocalypse.
Well, that wasn't so much Jason going in and rewriting the grunt lines that I recorded as Jason going in and stabbing the two of us in the heart.
No. Jason came in and said, we have to fix the grunt. Because we had Dopey Grunt. Oh, he's going to say, well, put in all the permutations in that category, so I would. Yeah, we'll just cut 1, 2, 3, and 4. Oh, yeah, no, at 5 and 6, and just cut the whole category. And that's how that happened.
2401 Penitent Tangent.
Yes.
He came up with that. That's genius.
John Michael Higgins, he
I
was
think
in.
you might have peaked. Remember 49 light bulb? and
7 broken iPods.
Yeah.
those were good.
49 light bulb was my favorite.
49 light bulb will rise again.
Do you know I have 343 on my license plate? I showed you that, right?
What? Just out of
Oh, great.
totally random?
You just told all the fans your license plate.
No, they had a stack of plates in the back, and the nice
Marty, why do you
woman.
play the music right here?
Right there was the marketing people, so bang, music goes down.
We love you, Cameron.
Just kidding.
Don't let them drag you down, Marty.
A nice lady at the DMV actually went back to the whole stack of license plates that she had and found 343 for me.
Huh.
I didn't get to choose the 3 letters.
Again, Marty, my favorite piece right here. I mean, by the time people are listening to this, they'll know the answer to this, but
What?
is this coming back for Halo 3, this piece?
Probably, yes.
Yeah.
I think because believe it or not, this in the end credits is the only time you hear it this way. In Halo 2. You hear a snippet of it in one of the cutscenes, but that's about it.
I recognize so many of those testers' names from reading bugs.
A lot of these people now are like
Who was your
full-time
nemesis?
buddies.
You had a nemesis in Halo 2, the bug nemesis. I forgot who it
Camera's
was.
almost
Oh,
down.
really? I don't know. I don't remember.
I don't remember a lot. Your nemesis who kept assigning
I
bugs.
think I was friends with all those guys.
Oh, yeah.
I just thought of a couple things I'll have to say after we turn off the mics.
Should say it. Get it out. Get it out now.
Actually, I'm afraid I can't do that, Mark.
Okay.
But for as much as we cut stuff from this game, I gotta say that I love this little final post-credit sequence.
Yes.
You know, as much as we cut stuff from this game, I still love the game.
Good.
Amen, brother.
All right. What does Jason say here?
I think I was also doing stuff.
Oh yeah, doing stuff. It's all the people talking to their families here. This is so nice. Right. What's?
I think somebody has slipped into a meat for dinner coma.
Yeah.
Which, Marty, you mean?
Yeah.
Marcy, Allie, Christy, all in love. Okay, good. But I didn't say last crunch. I knew better at this point.
Clearly, we'll have to keep the mics on after this so we can say some interesting things.
Yeah,
that
I
we could put on over the top.
Nobody's listening to us at this point. Trust me.
Is it over?
It's over, of course, Joe. We wouldn't have another
Characteristic
cinematic,
trademark.
would we?
State O'Donnell Black.
Ooh. This time with no actual, just sound effects. And then
This is going to be the last level I've been waiting for. And everybody picks their controller.
Yeah, okay, now I finally get to play. Yeah. Master Chief back.
Yeah, I guess that is kind of the downside with post-credit cinematics.
That was classic, Joe. You're right at the end. You're like, you know, but for all we cut, and I thought you were going to say something like positive, but for all we cut, you know, I really, this, I do like this thing that happens after the credits.
Cool under pressure.
Here we go.
She's our girl.
Oh. You gotta love her. Oh wait, this is spooky. This is scary.
Huh?
Ooh.
What will happen?
Halo 3.
Alright guys, that was the end of the Halo 2 cinematic commentary. If you like it, let me know in the comment section below. My camera's about to die, so I'll be back in the next video. Until then, I'm out. Peace.